You're sitting there, staring at a screen that hasn't lit up in 3 hours, wondering why the energy you put out never seems to come back to you. It's a gut-wrenching feeling, realizing that you're essentially a background character in the life of someone you've made your entire world. You've done everything right according to the movies. You're kind, you're available, you're supportive, and you're consistent. Yet somehow that consistency has become your cage. You've become predictable, and in the world of attraction, predictability is the silent killer of desire. The uncomfortable truth is that women don't chase men who make them feel safe in a boring way. They chase men who make them feel a sense of emotional challenge. If she knows she has you 100%, she has no reason to move toward you. Why would anyone run for a bus that's already parked in their driveway? You've accidentally taught her that your attention is a free commodity with an infinite supply, and because it's free, she stopped valuing it. It's time to stop being the guy who begs for a seat at the table and start being the guy who owns the restaurant. If you're tired of being the one who always reaches out first, if you're tired of feeling like an option instead of a priority, then you need to pay close attention to the psychological shift we're about to break down. We aren't talking about cheap tricks, we're talking about a total internal overhaul. Before we dive into the deep mechanics of the female mind, do yourself a massive favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is for the men who are ready to stop playing small and start reclaiming their frame. We're building a brotherhood of high-value men who understand that self-respect is the ultimate aphrodisiac, and if you aren't subscribed, you're going to miss the very insights that could change your life forever. The fundamental reason women start chasing certain men and never stop is rooted in the scarcity principle. Human beings are biologically hardwired to want what they cannot easily have. When you flood a woman with texts, compliments, and constant availability, you are essentially hyperinflating the market of you. You've created a surplus, and when there's a surplus, the price drops to zero. Think about it. Why are diamonds expensive while air is free? Both are necessary in different ways, but diamonds are rare. Most men act like oxygen. They are just there all the time, being pleasant and necessary but completely ignored. You need to become the diamond. This starts with the blackout of presence. You have to be willing to walk away from the digital tether. When she sends a dry text or takes 5 hours to reply, your instinct is to reply instantly to fix the vibe. That's a low-value move. It screams that you have nothing better to do. A high-value man is busy. He has a mission, a career, a brotherhood, and a purpose that doesn't stop just because a girl messaged him. When you stop being so damn available, her brain starts to fill in the gaps. In that silence, she begins to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, and why you aren't chasing her like every other mid-guy in her DMs. That uncertainty creates a psychological itch that she can only scratch by reaching out to you. You are creating a void, and nature abhors a vacuum. By pulling back your energy, you force her to lean in just to maintain the connection. This isn't being mean, it's being a man of substance who doesn't revolve his entire existence around a woman's validation. Let's keep it 100. Most guys are simping under the guise of being nice. They think that by being the emotional support human, they'll eventually win her heart. But all they're doing is training her to see them as a beta provider or a bestie rather than a romantic interest. Female psychology is driven by the chase response. Evolutionarily, women are attracted to the man who is pursued by the world, not the man who is pursuing them with desperate energy. When you display main character energy, you stop looking for her approval and start living for your own. This means setting boundaries that you actually stick to. If she flakes on you, you don't give her a second chance immediately. You let her feel the coldness of your absence. You don't get angry. Anger is a sign that she still has power over your emotions. You stay stoic, you stay calm, you simply withdraw the privilege of your time. When a woman realizes that your attention is a reward for her good behavior and not a right she has just for being pretty, the power dynamic flips instantly. She starts to value the moments she has with you because she knows they can be taken away if she doesn't bring value to the table. This creates a long-term investment loop. The more she has to work to keep your attention, the more she convinces herself that you must be incredibly valuable. We value what we work for, and we disrespect what comes easy. There's a deep-seated psychological trigger called the validation trap. Most men are constantly seeking a sign that she likes them. They look for the heart emoji, the fast reply, the good night text. This neediness is like a scent that women can smell from miles away, and it's a total turnoff. To make her chase you forever, you have to be the one who grants validation, not the one who begs for it. This is where micro-pulls come into play. You give her a taste of your warmth, a deep conversation, a genuine compliment, a great night out, and then, right when the energy is at its peak, you go back to your mission. You don't linger. You don't hover. You don't ask, "Did you have a good time?" You know your high value, so you assume she had a great time. This leaves her in a state of emotional residual. She's still feeling the high of being with you, but you're already gone, on to the next thing in your life. This creates a Zygarnik effect in her mind, an unfinished loop. She wants to get back to that high, so she starts plotting how to see you again. She starts being the one to suggest plans. She starts checking your Instagram stories to see what you're up to. She becomes the hunter because you've positioned yourself as the prize. It's facts. A man who is focused on his empire will always be more attractive than a man who is focused on a girl. To keep this chase going for the long haul, you have to maintain your mystery. In the age of social media, everyone overshares. Most guys post every meal, every workout, and every thought. By the time a girl meets them, there's nothing left to discover. If you want a woman to never stop chasing you, you must remain a bit of an enigma. You don't need to tell her your life story on the first date. You don't need to explain why you were busy on Tuesday. A simple, "I was taking care of business" is 10 times more attractive than a paragraph-long explanation. Uncertainty is the fuel of obsession. If she can't quite put her finger on what makes you tick, she will spend her mental energy trying to solve the puzzle of you. And here's the secret. The more time a woman spends thinking about you when you aren't there, the more she falls for you. It's not the time spent together that builds the deepest attraction. It's the time spent apart. You have to be comfortable with her being a little bit unsure of where she stands, not because you're being a jerk, but because you are so focused on your own growth that she naturally becomes a secondary priority. This signals that you are a man of high sexual market value. It suggests that you have other options, even if you aren't seeing anyone else. That subtle hint of pre-selection makes her want to lock you down before some other woman realizes what a catch you are. If you're still watching this, it means you're part of the top 1% of men who are actually willing to look at the mirror and change their strategy. Most guys will keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, and they'll end up bitter and alone. But not you. You understand that the chase is a biological dance, and you're finally learning the steps. The key takeaway here is that you must stop being the source of effort and start being the source of value. If she isn't matching your energy, you don't double down, you divide. You take that energy and you put it into your bank account, your biceps, and your brain. When you become a man who truly loves his own life, you become a magnet. You won't have to ask why women start chasing you. You'll be too busy dealing with the fact that they won't stop. It's about frame control. He who cares the least wins. Not because he's heartless, but because he's grounded. He doesn't need the world to tell him he's the man because he already knows it. Go out there, stop the simping, kill the mid-energy, and start living like the prize you are. The world, and the women in it, will follow your lead once you finally stop following theirs. Stay dangerous, stay stoic, and keep building. The final thing you need to understand, and this is the final boss of female psychology, is that the chase only lasts as long as your growth does. Most guys get the girl, and then they go ghost on their own goals. They stop the grind, they stop the gym, and they start making her their only source of dopamine. That is the quickest way to kill the attraction you worked so hard to build. Real talk, if you want her to never stop chasing you, you have to be a man who is perpetually out of reach, even when you're standing right next to her. You have to remain a mystery that she's constantly trying to solve, a mountain that she's constantly trying to climb. If you ever become a completed task in her mind, she's moving on to the next challenge. No cap. You have to be willing to lose her at any moment to keep your self-respect. That walk-away power is the most intoxicating thing a man can possess. It shows her that your world doesn't start or end with her, and that forces her to keep bringing her A game just to stay in your orbit. You are the main character, and she is a guest star in your movie. Don't ever flip the script. If you're ready to stop being the guy who gets played and start being the guy who stays in control, you need to be part of this circle. Hit that subscribe button right now, because we're dropping the raw, unfiltered truth that the world wants to keep from you. We're building a brotherhood of men who are focused, grounded, and high value. Don't be the guy who misses the next lesson and falls back into old, mid habits. Subscribe, stay focused on your mission, and remember, the only person you should ever truly chase is the best version of yourself. When you do that, the rest of the world has no choice but to follow. Stay dangerous.